Profile, how you doing, brother? Wait, what do you mean you're getting ads? Back in a All right. All right. Oh, shit. Oh, whoa. Okay, hold up. Something weird is happening here, boys. Is that true for the whole world? Hold up. Um. Oh, shit. Okay. FXK, how you doing, brother? I was doing Mirror Mexico. Oh, shit. I apologize, bro, but I will be, I'm gonna be live for a bit, so you don't have to worry about it too much. You'll be able to hopefully show up, once you wake up. Because yeah, I'm usually live until like evening time. How's life, man? Why are you still awake at 2 a.m. though? Profile, how you doing, brother? It seems like shit's going nuts, bro. Wow. Worldwide, the stock market is crashing, man. Like, not good. Not good at all. The UK is burning. Yep. Yep. Things are not going well, man. This is nuts. But the question is if it looks like shit is hitting the fan in real time, we may actually be witnessing the end of an era, because everything's down, man. Like, everything. Am I down? Let me just see if South African stocks have been affected. Fuck. They just check. Let's make sure. Oh, I'm just quickly logging in here. Wow. South African stocks have taken a fucking hit as well, man. Down 27%. Oh, that is tough. That is tough. Holy shit. Some of it's up, though. Like, my mining shares are alright. They're doing okay-ish. I have one share here that's fallen by more than 65%, dude. That thing's crashed. Another one, 44%. 22%, 12%. Oh, I found a new South African video. What's the video? Hold up, I'll check now. Yeah, so this is actually scary. Luckily that money is whatever, I don't really pay too close attention to investment money. Hold up, I'm checking now. South Africa, the dateless country in the world. Oh, yeah, Serpent said, hey. I heard about it. I heard about it. I have not watched this video yet, but I'll keep it on. We might watch it. Just waiting for people to, filter in and show up and so on. And then we can get into it. If needs be, It's pretty early, though. Miku Monday, how you doing, brother? South Africa, deadly country in the world. Don't you mean Australia? Miku, so in Australia, they have bugs and stuff that's deadly. We have humans that's deadly. Bleeding Soul, how you doing, brother? Oh, fuck me, man. Okay, never mind. Australia is one of the safest countries in the world. You have bugs, bro. Don't fucking start with me. Australia is basically like the ass end of the world, where all of the bugs and all of the spiders and snakes went to, I don't know, hold meetings and shit. I don't know what they did there. Maybe some big conference before the Earth split apart. And now all of them's just there. So don't you come at me with it. Oh, we're the safest. I don't give a fuck. You have spiders that will bite you on your penis when you're sitting on the toilet. That is just uncouth, sir. That's just not how you play a good game of cricket. You do not bother a man while he's taking a shit. That is just ridiculous. Apocalypse, how you doing, brother? Lotharu, how you doing, bro? Doing great. Hope life's well. Yeah, life's good, man. What are you going to do? You know? Life goes on. Although, I feel sorry for all the stock market Andys. Because it seems like the world is going to fucking shit. The hell in a handbasket, if I'm looking at this correctly. Everything seems to be down. Like, across the board, all of the stock markets are falling. Now, we've seen this before. I'm not entirely sure if this is, like, the end game. But this is definitely worrisome. It's rare that you have the entire world's stock market just going down. It's like, what the fuck? Since the 80s, pretty much. I think you mentioned that you don't like Warframe, but have you ever checked out the lore? FXK, no, I haven't. It's just not my type of game. It's not that I don't like it. So just to be clear, even if it was the best game that has ever been made, the style of game or the genre is just not my type of genre. I hate looter shooters with everything in me. I do not know what the point is of a looter shooter. For me, farming endlessly just for an percentage increase in damage is not my idea of playing a good game. So I wouldn't like that game, even if it was the best thing that's ever happened. That's not to say that it's a bad game. For people that like that style of game, I can absolutely see Warframe being a brilliant game. Going up. Well, yeah, maybe they will go up. Although across the board, it's all down. Apocalypse, across the board, it's all down. Yep, the corruption has gone too far. The thing that bothers me about this entire fuck-up, Growfile, is that we're going to pay for other people's corruption. I wasn't corrupt. I had no hand in any of this shit. And yet, you and I are going to pay for this. Food prices are going to go up. Fuel prices are going to go up again. The government's going to find some new fucking reason to tax everyone. And we did nothing, right? We were just sort of playing video games and chilling out. But no. We'll pay the price for this. Don't worry. Don't worry, rich fucks. We'll pick up the tab. You know, Bill Gates isn't going to lose anything. Mark Zuckerberg isn't going to lose anything. Elon Musk isn't going to lose anything. It's the little guy that will pay the price for the unbridled greed from these corporate stooges. Yeah, it's fun. The European markets are down 2.5%. Mining stock shed 3.6%. You look at this, the Dow Jones fell by 600 points. S&P futures by 1.5%. NASDAQ dipped 2.8% and 4.9% respectively. Anything to these stooges? Then it's time for revolution, isn't it? Revolution won't work. You can see it in the UK now. The government will just use these newest protests for even more control and power. So Nothing. I don't know if we can do anything. I think UK acted too fast. They don't have the numbers. What do you mean UK acted too fast? You think they started the revolution too fast in the UK? I don't know about that, bro. Like, if I listen to some of the protesters, they're fucking angry, man. They have had enough. And then you listen to that Keir Starmer asshole, that guy. And instead of actually listening to what the protesters are angry about, he's just instantly going, "You right-wing Nazis, get the fuck out." And it's like, maybe listen to, maybe, I don't know, pay attention to why they're protesting, why they're upset. It's not as if this comes from nowhere, right? It's not as if people in the UK have been complaining about immigration for fucking decades. But, you know, let's see how this one works out for them. Didn't print enough pamphlets. The fat man getting bolder. Mike, how you doing, brother? Yeah, gotta embrace the bold life. That's how you become a big boy streamer. No? Won't listen. I don't think it's that they won't listen. I think it's that they physically... I'm working on a video right now where I will go into a lot more detail in that video on what is happening and why it's happening. But it is important to understand that it is not that the left will not listening to you. It's that the words that you use and the words that they use, while they may be the same words, they mean very different things. Because it stems fundamentally from completely different ideological foundations. So this entire thing, the leftism in the modern era, the DEI woke push in video games, it all is a symptom. It's not the disease. So when we're fighting DEI in video games, we're not fighting DEI. That's not the foundational issue. That's a symptom of the issue, of the actual disease. The disease is postmodernism. That's the disease. That's the thing that is sprouting all of this. The problem with postmodernism is it was born out of the 1940s, 1950s, if I remember correctly, and it came as a result in the 1940s, 1950s, science for the very first time had to confront a singular truth. And that truth was that there is no such thing as proof for anything. You can provide evidence for things, and the evidence can be overwhelming towards one side or the other, but you can't definitively prove anything because the universe doesn't work that way, right? And so suddenly you had all of these French, and by the way, you want to blame anyone for the world ever, the French is a good fucking bet, pretty much always. This will make all of the British viewers very happy. But basically what ended up happening was these French philosophers took that, you know, there is no such thing as proof, and they said, well, there's also no such thing as truth. If there is no such thing as proof, so if you can't prove something, then it must also mean that there is no such thing as truth. In other words, there is no truth. There's simply subjective, right? Subjective observations. In other words, there are experiences, and my experience and your experience will not be the same. Therefore, my truth and your truth will not be the same. And who is to say who has the right of it, right? Because you can't prove that. You can't prove that my life experience is any better or worse than yours, because it's my experience. And you can understand the logic behind what they're saying. If you're someone that grew up in the hood, right, and you were surrounded by gangsters all your life, and the only time ever you see the police was when the police were brutally beating someone or being, you know, absolutely assholes to people in your community, then your experience is that the police is incredibly racist, the police hates people that look like you, and the gangs provide safety. And then who are you to tell me that I'm wrong? Because this is my experience, right? This is the only thing I've ever known, the only thing I've ever learned. Now, of course, postmodernism does understand that there's an inherent problem with their theory, and that is that if it is true that there is no such thing as truth, then whatever the fuck they're saying is also not true, because there's no such thing as truth. And so they very quickly said, wait. There is such a thing as truth. Truth is in the experience of the individual. So you become basically the arbiter of truth within the universe. And anything else that, anything that interferes with you and your truth is an oppressive system. And then they came up with, later years, they started coming up with their hierarchy of truth. In other words, depending on the race and the gender of the person, their truth is going to count much more than, say, someone else's truth. And it's important that people understand this. When you say to the left, listen here, we want X or we want Y, they are not hearing X or Y. They are hearing what you're saying through the lens of postmodernism. The other problem, and this is actually the one, because most postmodernism up until this point is still, it's okay-ish, right? It's just a bunch of wacky people with wacky beliefs. But then comes the real big one. And I believe the philosopher that basically came up with this concept was Kant. Kant came up with the concept. I think it was Kant. I don't think it was Foucault. I think it was Kant that came up with this, but I'll have to double check that. Came up with the idea that the entire world is effectively a battle between good and evil. That's everything is made up of this battle between good and evil. Now, you have to understand what that means. That means if you combine the fact that all truths are subjective, and if I, as a white man, were to tell someone that isn't white or isn't a man that they're wrong, then I'm being oppressive, then that automatically makes me evil. Because remember, the whole world is a battle between good and evil. In other words, you are not just someone that doesn't agree with them. If you don't agree with them, you are by default evil. This is why they're very happy to label everyone as Hitler, to label everyone as racist Nazis. Because if you say, for example, hey guys, listen here, we're all for immigrants, but fuck me, 10,000 immigrants a day? That's a bit much. The country can't handle 10,000 immigrants a day. Can we try and cut that down to maybe like 1,000 a day? They don't hear that argument. What they hear is you are anti-immigrants, i.e. you are anti-white people or non-white people, i.e. you are evil. You are literally Hitler and you should be killed. End of discussion, right? And there's no denying that their logic is sound. It's fucking bonkers, but it's sound, right? Because my experience isn't the same as yours, but my experience is better than yours. I'm automatically the good person here, right? And everyone obviously, every single human thinks that they are good. No human thinks that they're evil. So every single human thinks that they're doing the right thing. Keir Starmer, when he stood up in front of the entire Britain yesterday and called all of the protesters right-wing, he was being sincere. He genuinely believes that they are right-wingers and that they are Nazis and that they should be stopped. He's not hearing the words that they're saying. He's not hearing their frustration, because to him, their frustration is seated in evil. Short and long of it, they are evil. So, I guess the question then becomes, how do you fight this? What do you do? How do you diffuse this situation? Because you're dealing with an enemy, and they are an enemy, because they have made you the enemy, even if you didn't want to. Make no mistake, this isn't some ideological disagreement that we can debate away. They are your enemy because to them you are the greatest threat to their livelihoods. And whenever the greatest threat to your livelihood exists, the only way to not have that threat on your livelihood is to unexist the threat. And you are that threat, right? So you are their enemy. Make no mistake, you are at war with these people. But how do you fight a war with someone where the truth is quite literally as fluid as water? Truths can be, one thing today and another thing tomorrow, and there is nothing you can do about it because the truth is determined by the individual that tells you the truth, right? How do you fight that? How do you talk to someone where the very words coming out of your mouth is not what they hear? They don't hear the words that when you say, hey, maybe we should stop importing millions upon millions of people from third world countries that hate our country, they're not hearing that, you're okay with immigration. You just want that immigration to be controlled so that you can make sure that evil people don't get into your country. They are just blanket statement hearing no immigrants because I love white people and I hate everyone that isn't white. That's what they hear. And it doesn't matter how many times you try to explain to them that's not what I said. That is what they heard. Now, there's this thing, my brother and I, we were talking about this. People, there's a concept, and I'm not saying that this is true, but a theory that I have at least. No one is ever convinced of anything from outside themselves. Allow me to elaborate. No matter how many times I read Foucault or Kant or Lyotton or any of these postmodernist writers, no matter how many times I read their books, their writings, their ideas, I will never be convinced of their ideas, ever. I will never be convinced by their ideas. No matter how many times you can sit me down and show me Hitler's speeches until the fucking cows come home, I will never be convinced by his ideas. His ideas just have no traction with me. And I have no capacity to entertain his ideas in any way, shape, or form. But there are people who immediately accept those ideas. And my theory is, you were always evil. The only reason you didn't believe in postmodernism until the day that you finally believed in it is because you didn't know about it. But you always had this strain of evil inside of you. You were always just a breath away from mass genocide of a group of people because you hate those people. You just needed the knowledge to know that that's actually what you want. So no one is ever convinced of outside forces, which suggests you cannot convince someone of the opposite opinion because they were never convinced by anyone to believe the things that they believe. And if that is true, if I am right, then that is the end of all this changing hearts and minds, counterculture, any of those arguments. Fundamentally, at its core, the people who believe in postmodernism, the people who believe in DI, are evil to their core. And they were always evil. They weren't just somehow convinced of it. They didn't listen to a bunch of arguments and then just accept those arguments. They were just waiting for the tools to understand the evil that they are. And now they're happy to enact that evil. It's a dangerous thought. Everyone looking for their confirmation. Pretty much, Apocalypse. And the EDL, so I was watching this documentary on the start of the EDL. The EDL is a great example of what happens when you don't protect your flanks. Because at the concept of the EDL, at the core of the EDL, the start of the EDL, was quite literally just immigration is too high, the society is changing too fast, and people were reacting to that. But within a month or two, you had some of the worst racist people moving into that organization and taking it over. Because remember, evil is always looking for a vehicle for its ideologies. Always. No matter what fucking ideology you have, evil will find a way into it. Because the evil people work much harder than you or I to do their evil shit. So, yeah, the EDL basically from its inception was evil because within a couple of months, it was infected by people who didn't just want less immigration. It became a thing of, oh, everyone that doesn't look exactly like us should be killed and pushed out of the country or whatever. So yes, it became a very, very evil organization, damn. Right? Thank you. Everon, how you doing, brother? 23 months part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you. Britain first. Originally is a great concept. Look after your house before you look after others. However, that got corrupted to Britain number one. Apocalypse Britain first is another example. But this is why I always warn in my videos the anti-woke crowd, because we don't really have a name, that we, Gamergate 2 crowd or whatever, should guard our flanks. Danham, how you doing? We should guard our flanks. It is of absolute importance that you do not allow the evil entities to move into that organization, because once they're in, you don't get them out. They infect and take over the entire fucking movement. And then that movement becomes something that you genuinely never wanted it to be. That wasn't even the start of that movement, but that's what it is now, right? Is our name. Token, how you doing, brother? Gatekeeping is a good thing now. Gatekeeping is supposed to always be a thing. Especially in ideological movements, you must gatekeep. You must be able to say, no, not you. You don't get to be a part of us. You don't get to play with us. Holy, how you doing, bro? Fundamentally, the current protests in the UK, in my opinion, is going to get a hell of a lot worse. Because remember, those protesters, while they're not in the gaming industry, they're fighting the same fight that we are in the gaming industry. They're just doing it now a little bit more viscerally than we are. And it's going to get ugly because ordinary people have been ignored for far too long. For far too long, ordinary Britons have said, hey, bros, fuck, man, can we put a stop to can we just cool down the immigration a little? We're not asking you to stop immigration entirely, but fuck me. It's a bit much. And the political state has basically gone, fuck you. Who cares? We don't care. More people, more better, is what we say. And then, of course, you have the fucking people that eventually go, wait a second. So it all started, Holy, just as a TLDR. A British girl was, I believe, brutally murdered by an immigrant. And this marks how many girls now that's been murdered by immigrants in the UK. And now the UK people have had enough. The people in the UK have just gone, bro, fucking enough. And what makes it worse is the media, when the media reported on the 3 girls that were murdered, they refused to say who the person was that murdered them. They refused to say the name of the person that murdered them. And I think that's what kicked everything off. Because basically the British public has now started to feel like they're actively being lied to in order to gaslight them, right? And that's really where this whole thing, I mean, this is a build-up of so many years of issues, and the issues are just continuously going. I don't think the current protests are about the 3 girls that were murdered. I think the current protest is those girls were literally just the catalyst. It was the flame that was needed. It was the spark that was needed to kick this off. But it was always going to happen, no matter what. No matter who got murdered, no matter what happened. All they needed, all the British public needed effectively was one more moment. And that one more moment would be the thing that goes, all right, fuck it, let's go. We've had enough of this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here. That didn't have their name released because they were underage. 3 got stabbed by a British national. Apocalypse, but the question again would be, is the British national of immigrant descent? Because that, I think, for most of the people in those protests, they no longer give a fuck, right? Whether the person was there for 5 years or 10 years, they don't care, right? As far as they're concerned, it's just like, nope, this is what we have. We don't give a fuck, right? And again, it comes as a result of gaslighting and as a result of not wanting to talk about the issues. Lazaret was born in the UK, raised in Rwanda. Exactly the thinking that Farage took advantage of to start this shit. I'm not sure if Farage started this shit. I don't think Farage did. Look, again, politics is always downstream from culture. Politics is never the thing that starts culture. Never. People love to pretend that it is, but if you go throughout the history of the world, politics makes no changes. Culture makes changes. A person like Farage would never be elected or even get any votes in a society that is happy, in a society that is functioning, right? If there were no problems with immigration, if Britain had no issues, no one would vote for a populist, right? Because populism only ever thrives when the political class turns its back on the people. That's when populism kicks off, right? Because once the populace feels like they've been ignored, they become populists insofar as they want politicians to do the popular thing for the public, not for themselves. Yeah, then you have the 2-tier policing system, which is just going to create even more problems in the UK. Things are going to be dark. That non-stormer stands up and instead of saying, we hear you, let's look at the causes of the problems. As there's a trend, he goes off on defending mosques, and that's what started the riots. Pull the heat from the situation by saying that. I mean, for sure, bad actors like Farage take advantage because he is a Russian tool, but this doesn't negate the problem Western societies have. I don't know if he's a Russian tool. I don't know. I don't think Russia has that much pull. I think he's just part of a growing number of people that have become disillusioned with the West. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people make who have become disillusioned with the West, I am one of those people. But the problem with humans is they're very short-sighted. So what humans do is they go, the West is bad. This must mean that the enemies of the West is good, right? And so if America is bad, then obviously Russia must be good because Russia and America are enemies. And it's like, that doesn't have to be true. America could be bad and Russia could be bad, right? Everyone could be bad here. It doesn't have to be either or. It could be both. I'm in the both camp. I think both the West and the East is very, very evil. Because I don't think they really give a fuck about people. Wait, you're changing the history now of things. He got the UK out of the EU, which is what he said he would do. But even if he got even if he stayed, he would never have led. There would never have been, like, the Conservatives won the election, not his party. The Brexit party didn't win the election. So even if he stayed, he would not have been a leader. It would always have been Boris Johnson. So I can't really say that, he's the guy that, bailed. He didn't win the election, so he wouldn't have led anyway. Everyone is fucked, that's true. The Vengeance, how you doing, brother? They already have football hooligans beating each other regularly with weapons. Let the rioters have battles on the streets in glorious melee. Might have known, how you doing, bro? I actually agree with that, Albuar. I think what we should do is have the police pull out, get the Muslim gangs on the one side, get the rioters on the other side, and just go. You have someone like Christopher Nolan direct that shit, some cameras everywhere, and you just play, play it for everyone to see. We can take bets and see who wins, that would make for some good fucking TV, actually. That would be some top quality TV right there. I'm a big bug, Android Waste Pandoria. Wait, really? By the phone? Did you get Michael Bay? Oh, shit. Did you guys hear? Christopher Nolan and Michael Bay are basically fighting each other for who gets to produce Halo movies, basically. Colosseums, arenas for the masses entertainment? Why not? Why not? I would be okay with that. And Amazon don't want Cavill with them anymore? Wait. Is that true? Yeah, Z Vengeance, Michael Bay wants to do that, but since Halo was cancelled by I think it's Paramount, right? Halo was cancelled by Paramount. Basically, Christopher Nolan and Michael Bay have both stepped up and said, we would love to make movies with Halo, or in the Halo universe. So yeah, we might not get another season of Halo, but we will almost definitely get some movies. To what I've heard people say that, but the problem with that, in a game, it's fine if you don't show the main character's face. Perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that. Because the player becomes the main character. In a series, that is definitely not gonna work as easily. It can work, but it is a lot more difficult because, remember, watching a series or watching a movie, you don't become the main character. You're just watching. And there has to be some humanity. There has to be some human connection. And it's very difficult to create that human connection with a mask. So it is difficult. It's not impossible. And so I think what it mainly speaks to is the writing team wasn't good enough to pull it off. So they took the easy way out. Show his face. That should give you a connection to the character at least. I personally think you could have done it without the helmet, but I understand why they decided to do it, right? Dorian, which only got unmasked because Pedro's a diva. Z Vengeance, but, you giving counterpoints to this, does not refute the rule. From a writing perspective, from a movie perspective, from a play perspective, no matter what kind of art you want to take here, you need a connection, right? And if you have a phenomenal actor, if you have a phenomenal scriptwriter, if you have people that know what they're doing, you can absolutely do it with the mask and, it can be pulled off. You even have movies where you have actors that barely say a fucking word. And if the actor is good enough, they'll pull it off, right? I'm thinking of, what was that movie called? Aliens invade, and the aliens are super sensitive to sound. And so the whole movie is basically just silence. No one's speaking. They're just doing things. And yet the acting in that was phenomenal. The actors that were chosen, Quiet Place, that's the one, right? Where there's no speaking, but it is, the acting is so good that it still pulls you in. But that is hard, you know? That is fucking hard to do. And you need a great actor and a great writer to actually pull that off. So yeah, I would say I understand why they went with that. And I don't know if seeing Master Chief's face was really that bad for me. CD, how you doing? There is something I saw, but I can't remember if I bookmarked it. But I saw someone say, oh yeah, this. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this may actually point to us finally starting to win the war. And as I said before, this is in fact a war. But there's a rumor that is currently circulating, enough so that people are starting to write articles about this. Marvel Studios started to clean house, and they fired all of the activist producers. So the new rumor that came out was from Foam Threat founder Chris Gore, who was on an appearance on the Critical Drinkers YouTube channel, where he basically said, I do know people who work at Marvel. They have cleaned house. They quietly, months ago, fired all the producers that could be labeled activist. He continued, unlike Lucasfilm is lost. They're lost. They're doubling down on all the nonsense. You will never get anything good out of Lucasfilm and Star Wars. That's it. So it does seem like Marvel, or at least the team in Marvel, started to realize, okay, wait a second. This is not working. We're not making any money. No one is buying anything here. We have to make a change. And the only way we're going to make this change is to get rid of all the fucking activists in the organization. Now, again, this is just a rumor. We genuinely don't know. Another great thing here that Gore said is, additionally, they fired people who don't know the comics, but it's going to be a sea change that will take years. But that doesn't matter. No, their management from Disney is full of woke in higher places. So maybe that's... I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I believe that the higher-ups, the investors in these companies, I don't think they're woke. I don't think they even know really what woke means. They only care about money. We know this because I have heard more than enough people from the industry talk about this. The top guys don't even know what the fuck woke really means. What they know is what they've been told. And what they've been told for the longest time is that if we go woke, we will make money. We will get more people involved in the gaming industry. More people will start playing the games, because right now it's only basically the white dudes that's playing. But if we change our messaging, if we change our games, we'll have more people of color playing, we'll have more women playing, and we'll just make a lot more money as a result of including more people. And they were like, oh, well, let's fucking go. You know, more money, more better, you know. And to some extent, I think they were also sold on this idea that gamers won't really care, you know. Gamers won't really care. And again, there are games that you can point to in the past that successfully did this. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. It's a game with a female lead, and it did really, really well, right? So from the top people's perspective, they could make a lot more money by just, you know, casting female main characters, and, you know, all the audience would come out and watch. The problem, of course, is that they broke away because they didn't understand that these activists were never in it for the money. As I already explained to you, for these activists, it is all about political destruction of their enemies. So for them, the money doesn't matter. And the second they got their foot in the door, they changed DEI from meaning diversity, equity, and inclusion to basically no white people. And the second you do that, what ends up happening is all of the white people stop watching. All of the white people stop playing your game. And then you start losing money. And they don't understand why they're losing money, so they keep doubling down, keep trying to push more diversity, because that's again what they were told. Look, we just need to be more diverse. If we're more diverse, people will come back and people will stop playing it. And they were like, yeah, all right, let's make more money. Because everyone's telling them. All of the consultants are telling them, if you go more woke, there's money in there, right? If you go more diverse, there's more money in there. And who are they to argue? Because do you think Bob Iger has ever played a video game in his life? Do you think Bob Iger knows anything about anything? No, he knows about business. He knows how to run a business. That's it. That's all he knows. So if the consultants tell Bob Iger, remember, people like Bob Iger hire consultants to tell them the things that they don't know. These consultants are telling them, you're going to make so much money off of this DEI push, you're going to be swimming in cash. Bob Iger is thinking to himself, this is, I can't believe everyone else isn't doing this. We're going to be the first and we're going to be so rich as a result of this. And then, it doesn't happen. And they go, but no, it will happen. Trust me. And it doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen. And then eventually they have to realize, oh, I guess it's not fucking happening. So eventually, all of these woke CEOs and activist investors will stop because they want to make money. And I think that's what we're seeing here. If these rumors are indeed true, and Marvel have already gotten rid of all of their political activists, what I wouldn't be surprised about is if someone like Bob Iger actually went to the Marvel studio guys and said, hey, you fire all of your political DEI people and just start making good films again, the normal films. We'll keep the Lucasfilm one as fucked as possible, and then we'll compare. We'll see who makes more money. I don't know if you guys have seen the articles. So Deadpool and Wolverine articles are the funniest shit ever, man. It really is the funniest shit ever. So on IMDb, it sits at a 8.1 out of 10. Just trying to see here. Oh yeah, Metacritic doesn't have. Hold up, let's see. What's the user score? You see, this is what I mean. User score for Deadpool and Wolverine 7.9. The critics score 56. In other words, 5 out of 10. Basically average. The audience fucking loves it. The critics hate it. This is exactly the point that I'm making. The opposite is usually true for everything else. For almost everything else. So let's take what am I trying to think about here? Let's take Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League, right? So we do Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, IMDb. No, I want Metacritic. And you'll see what I mean, right? A 6 out of 10 from the critics. Now, it's not much better than the Deadpool and Wolverine, but 6 out of 10 means above average. Users, on the other hand, are saying, not only is this game not average, it is fucking below average. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So you can see how the experts and the audience has started to diverge from one another. You look at all the articles about Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, it is ridiculous, bro. I've seen articles from, all of our favorite, shall we say, outlets, media outlets, that keep saying things like Deadpool and Wolverine take all the wrong lessons from Marvel films. Deadpool and Wolverine does this. Deadpool and Wolverine does that. And it's just like, wait a second. The movie is a giant success. The audience is loving it. And you're criticizing it? Why? Like, what are you criticizing here? The audience loves this. And considering we're making movies for the audience, you should just shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. So Bob Iger and the team behind him, they were pretty much always, right? Their entire lives, they were spending time listening to the critics. Because what else is Bob Iger going to listen to? Bob Iger doesn't read comic books. He's not friends with comic book readers. He doesn't know what people want to see on the big screen. So he listens to the experts. And the experts are telling him what people want is more diversity. People want DEI. The experts are telling him that his game, or this game, Suicide Squad, I know it's not Bob Iger's, but, Suicide Squad is above average. This is what the experts are telling him. The consultants are telling him, if you make your game this way, it will be an above average game. Maybe even a good game. And then the game comes out and the audience goes, yeah, we don't fucking like this at all. We're just not going to watch this. And Bob Iger, I think, rightfully perplexed. Absolutely perplexed. Cannot understand what the fuck just happened. He was told that this is the way. And now this seems to not be the way. The audience seems to not like the way that they're going. In time, people like Bob Iger, the suits at all these companies, will wake up and realize that, oh, maybe these consultants don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Maybe we should just do what we used to do, make good games, fire all of these activist assholes, and get back to doing what is right. Get back to doing what we're good at, which is making video games and shutting the fuck up about politics. It will take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but it does look like we are moving in that direction. They might actually be waking up. Now, that's not to say that there might not be some investors and CEOs out there that are genuine believers, and they will ride their franchises right to the bottom of the fucking ocean. They are not going to get off. Bob Iger might actually be a true believer, which means he will ride Disney all the way to hell. And then he'll write a book about his time at Disney and the racist white man that refuses to watch Star Wars. And the leftist will buy the book and lament the fact that the racist white people didn't want to watch movies that literally told them not to watch it. That's the thing that always blows my mind. These CEOs or these producers and directors will actively say, we don't care about white men. White men shouldn't watch our shit. And then we don't watch their shit. And then, when it fails, they blame the white men. Yeah, the movie failed because white men are racist. It's like, bro, I was just doing what you fucking told me to do. I was being an ally to you. You said I shouldn't watch your shit. I didn't watch your shit. I don't know what else to do. I'm just listening. How is this my fault? I was told not to come. Like, that's like the biggest mindfuck. That's like the gaslighting turned to 11. Just don't watch it. We don't care about you white fucks. Do your own thing. Don't come anywhere near our shit. All right, cool. We'll just play old games and watch old movies. Oh my god, the white people made us fail. Say, what? How am I being blamed for this? I had nothing to do with this. So yeah, it is what it is. What's funny is none of the people of color are watching this shit either. I have so many fucking friends that are not white that don't watch any of the modern day shit. They hate all of it. All of it. So I don't know who they're making these for, but it's not for people. It's like that Zoolander meme. What is this? A house for ants? Or a school for kids, a school for ants or some shit like that? How dare you be born the wrong skin color? Pretty much. Gregory, how you doing, brother? They also just blame men in general when it's an all-female cast. Acedia, pretty much, again, on point. Ryan, how you doing, brother? Imagine becoming the CEO of Disney at the height of its popularity, and your legacy will be how bad you fucked it up. Dude, I mean, maybe this is just how it should be. It might not be a bad thing. Like, sometimes forest fires are good because from the carnage of the fire, new life springs up. So maybe we should be thankful. It is a cycle, Holy. And the cycle sadly requires death. What the fuck? Never mind. I just read something that almost gave me cancer. I'm not going to read it. You read it and tell me what you think. I see another beautiful fucking user score in this movie's future. If indeed this movie ever gets made. It's going to be a massacre. Did you hear Marvel Viral? Yeah, Gregory, we literally just covered it. We were literally just talking about it. '23 was great. Loved the Logan movie. Logan was a good movie. I think Wolverine in general, pretty much all of his movies, they were a bit darker. Not as comedic as the others. But very good. I would say for Logan, it was a comic book movie, but it was one of the few comic book movies that did not feel like a comic book movie. See, yeah, I don't think Hugh Jackman wants to do another Wolverine. He basically, the only reason he did this was after he saw Deadpool. I think Deadpool 2, he said. He phoned Ryan Reynolds and he was like, bro, I want to do Deadpool. I want to be in a Deadpool movie. And that's the only reason he came back to do Wolverine was for the Deadpool movie. I don't think he'll be back for another one.
Oh, damn.
Ramnax, 12 months part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Apparently, you guys are winning some prizes or some shit if you subscribe or gift subs. I don't know how that works. But it's something to do with ITV or Apple TV. Something prizes. I don't know how it works. To be fair, I have no fucking idea about any of this. I just saw... hold up, let me see. I just saw it popped up. And they're like, oh, people can now win stuff. And I was like, oh, win what? What are they winning? Trying to see what you can win. Where the fuck would I find that? There won't be... Would it be rewards? Oh, yeah, here it is. Oh, okay. Hey, that's not bad, actually. It's not bad. Look at that. If you buy one new sub, you get 3 months of Apple TV. It's not bad. I don't know what shows. I know Apple TV has that Silo that I like. And I think season 2 for Silo is coming soon. I don't know what else it has. If it even has anything else. Dude, I don't know. I don't use Apple TV, but I know Silo is really good. And isn't Foundation on Apple TV as well? Why do I think Foundation is on Apple TV too? Bungie layoffs and CEO cars. Yes, Gregory, I've spoken about that one too. Is Foundation Amazon? I don't fucking think it's Amazon. Hold up, we can check. No. No, Foundation is not Amazon. Oh shit, my rubber band. Marvel is doing so poorly, they brought back RDJ and it won't save them? I don't know. I like RDJ. I will probably watch that movie just because RDJ is in the movie. Not gonna lie, I kind of like him. He's good. Yeah, I think it is Apple. But so yeah, gift subs if you want 3 months of Apple TV. It's a reward, I guess. So yeah. RDJ carried Marvel since the start of the MCU. Oh yeah, but Z Vengeance, that's exactly why I made that video about RDJ and people complaining about how much money he makes. Just saying, hey boys, let's be real. The reason they're paying him the fucking big bucks is because he gets asses in seats. That's why actors are being paid. Is because, you know, you want the best actors so that you can get it in. Can you be like Mr. Beast? I sub to your Patreon and you give me the prize? No. I will literally not do that. That is the quickest way to lose all fucking viewers and all faith from your viewers. I don't see him as a good Doctor Doom. Sakuraka, it depends, because apparently Rurikon told me this. I'm obviously not sure about like how exactly that operates, but apparently in some of the Marvel universes, Doctor Doom is in fact Tony Stark. So in our main universe, Tony Stark became Iron Man, but in some of the other universes, Tony Stark actually became Doctor Doom. So, I mean, he played a very good Tony Stark, and in some of the movies, like for example in Civil War, he was pretty good as like the bad guy. So maybe he works as Doctor Doom. Yeah, from what I understand, it is a multiverse thing. So because the rumor I've heard, and this is, again, take this with a pinch of salt, but the rumors that I've heard is that it is the current timeline, but because Tony Stark is gone, because he snapped his fingers and obviously poofed himself, this Doctor Doom Tony Stark is going to invade the fucking timeline, and he's now going to be the bad guy, right? That's what I've heard. Shame to waste the Doctor Doom characters as basically an iteration of Iron Man. He's probably the best Marvel villain. Secondly, it does come across to me as if, in case of audience numbers shitting the bed, break glass for RDJ. Oh yeah, 100%. It is. Look, make no mistake. The only reason they got Robert Downey Jr. is because audience numbers are absolutely tanking. They wouldn't get Robert Downey Jr. for any other reason. But they know he will get asses in seats. They know it. And so they're going for the big play. And I don't mind. I think he's a great actor, so it is what it is. It's a good story. Yeah, if they handle the story correctly, it's all going to depend on how they handle the story, obviously. That's basically what it's going to boil down to. How do they handle this story? Is the big shame. That's hugely amazing and interesting character in his own right. Abaddon, I don't know. Again, if they decide to go the multiverse route, it probably makes sense to get Robert Downey Jr. Because I'm going to be honest with you, and this is why I feel so sorry for, what's his name? Anthony something. The guy that's playing Cap now? What's his name? Come on, some of you know actors better than I do. Anthony Padilla. That's the one. I feel super sorry for Anthony because he's a great actor. He's a phenomenal actor. The problem is, he's not Captain America. Because we've seen Chris Evans for so fucking long in Captain America movies, in Marvel films, or Anthony Mackie, something like that. I know it's Anthony something. Whoever the fuck he is, it's Anthony. I've seen him in other movies. I like him as an actor, but he's not Captain America because he's not Captain America, because Chris Evans is Captain America. So it doesn't really help his case. And I feel the same way about Iron Man. If you try to recast Iron Man right now, it wouldn't work. Like, no matter what you do, Iron Man is Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. And you can cut it whichever way you want. If you try to put a new actor into the Iron Man position, I will literally watch that and I will go, that's not Iron Man. I don't know who the fuck this person is, but that's not Iron Man. Whole Avengers cast. I'm not just talking, I'm just using this as an example. But yes, the entirety of the Marvel's Avengers cast, they've done so many movies, and the generation is still alive that will be watching those movies. So trying to recast anyone in any of those roles will just fall flat. It will just not work. Any of the current Marvel lot next to RDJ, and it's going to show how shit the current characters, etc. are. True. Not to mention, all of them are stellar actors. Yep. Banner. Fuck Mark Ruffles. However, I'm perfectly okay with recasting Norton back as the Hulk. Even the Hulk is the Hulk. Yes, Norton was a good Hulk, but again, I've seen Mark Ruffalo way too much as the Hulk. So for me, he's the Hulk. And I can't imagine anyone else playing the Hulk. I dislike the fact that they made the Hulk sort of like this bitch. That I don't like. But, you know, hopefully they can do that better. My head because I was balding. Now I kind of look like you. Shadow Rodney, how you doing, brother? I didn't shave my head because I'm balding, but yeah. I know a lot of people do that. I think I would do it too. If I was balding, I would definitely shave my head. Just because, well, let's be real. Very few things look as silly as, like, it looks cool having a shaved head. It looks cool, right? Like, people with completely shaved heads, that looks pretty fucking badass. But if you have, like, just the hair on the outside here and nothing here, that just looks like, wait, why are you actively choosing to be okay looking like a grandpa? Like, I don't understand this. Yeah, you could be looking good just with a nice shaved head. Why are you actively being like, nah, let me look like a grandpa. I hope it grows back decently, but it does look cool. Looking forward to Mark Ruffalo spoiling MCU again. There's only one space for one Baldy on the WoW scene, and Asmon already claimed that throne. Yeah, I don't shave my head. I just use clippers, the zero comb clipper thing for my hair. And I only do this because it's easier. I literally only do it because it's easier. I can't be fucked with having long hair. It is too much effort, too much work. I don't want to do it. I was going to ask you guys another question, but now I can't remember. It was about Marvel superheroes. Oh, man. I can't remember now. Fuck. I asked Rurikon the same question, but now it's completely out of my mind. Oh, there's something else as well. Where did I see it? Hold on. I tweeted this out. Oh yeah, here's what I wanted to show you guys. Some good news actually. If this will load. What are you guys on about? Akko has shaved his head for years. Yeah, I mean this isn't new. So for as long as I can remember, I have been of the opinion that almost every single AAA studio is sitting on a gold mine without realizing that they're sitting on a gold mine. You have AAA studios from EA, Ubisoft, Microsoft, Blizzard, Activision, Bethesda, all of these AAA studios. And all of them are caught up in this cycle of new games once every 3, 4, 5 years, maybe. And the companies that do yearly or bi-yearly releases, like Ubisoft, EA, and Activision, tend to just produce basically recycled slop every single time because there's just not enough time to actually produce good, innovative games. And I've always said, if I were to acquire one of these studios, one of the first things I would do is create smaller teams within these studios that can work on smaller games. Because, I mean, if you look at Steam and you look at the success on Steam, I think it's pretty clear. Smaller, more focused games do a hell of a lot better than most of the AAA games right now, you know? And if you look at AAA budgets, it's become ridiculous from a budgeting perspective. When I say small game, I'm literally talking about single-player games, right? So a single-player game, basically making a game that isn't trying to sell millions upon millions of copies and make billions and billions of dollars. So nothing live service, nothing MMO, none of the big boy titles. So for example, and I know people are going to say, whoa, what do you mean? This was a massive game. Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 became a massive game because people loved the game and started playing the game and bought the game. But the creation of the game, if you go back and you listen to Sven, the CEO of Larian Studios, they expected Baldur's Gate 3 to sell about as well as Divinity Original Sin 2. And Divinity Original Sin 2 did not sell millions upon millions upon millions of copies. They weren't making the game to sell all the copies to fucking everyone. They were trying to make a very good game for what many people perceive to be a rather niche audience within the gaming industry, right? CRPGs aren't really played by everyone. It's not flashy. It doesn't have the flashy action combat. So it clearly doesn't draw as many crowds. It just happened to do well. Another example would be From Software and Elden Ring. The CEO, Miyazaki, from Software, has said repeatedly he's not interested in making games that sell millions upon millions of copies. He just wants to make the best game that he can make, right? And Elden Ring's success was literally just an accident. It just became super fucking well received because it was a really good, solid game. But it was never made to be a big game. Now, if you compare that to Anthem, clearly Anthem was made to be the next big game. You compare that to Assassin's Creed from Ubisoft, Far Cry from Ubisoft, Battlefield, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo 4. These are all games that are made specifically to be massive games. They have the AAA budget that is attached to it. And when we're saying AAA budget, we're talking anywhere from $150 to $200 to sometimes even $300,000 to make that game. We're talking about star power, so great actors, voice acting, motion capture, all of it. You know, it's going full out, all out. Let's make this game. 4, 5, 6, 700 developers working on the game. 6, 7 years development window. Let's go, right? And then those games tend to be, well, some of them are really good, some of them not so good. This just dropped last night. No, I saw it last night for the first time, but this is 2 days ago. Microsoft and Activision has formed a small new team inside Blizzard, and this team is going to focus on AA games inside Blizzard. What do we mean with AA games? StarCraft 3, Warcraft 4, maybe even survival game set in Azeroth, survival game set in Star Wars' universe, maybe a single-player game like Space Marine 2 that's coming out now set in the Star Wars universe, even a game set in the Warcraft universe can work. Overwatch with its character, maybe a main character, Reinhardt or something, or Tracer, getting her own single-player Space Marine type game. We're talking about small games that will take a year, maybe 2 years to produce, and it will speed up the amount of games that they're pushing out, but it will also fully utilize all of the IPs that they have. And this is something that I've been asking for a long time. And from the sources that are talking about this, it appears as if this entire push comes from Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer wants to utilize specifically the IPs that belong to Blizzard to the fullest. And they have now said that they're looking into other studios in the Microsoft stratosphere to also start making games set in Blizzard IPs. So if a company like Obsidian or a company like In Exile or even a company like Bethesda, you know, whatever, wants to make a game set in World of Warcraft's universe or in StarCraft's universe, they'll be okay with that. And they'll give them the rights to this. So basically, if I'm reading the room correctly, and if I look at all of the companies that belong to Microsoft, the overwhelming majority of those companies cannot, in any way, shape, or form, compete with Blizzard when it comes to IP riches. The only studio that competes with World of Warcraft in terms of IP value would be Bethesda. All of the other studios are great. Don't get me wrong. I love Obsidian. I love In Exile. But their IPs come nowhere fucking close to StarCraft, Warcraft, and Diablo. Right? And Overwatch to some extent, but, you know, Overwatch is whatever. So if you can start getting those studios, so you take a studio like Obsidian. Obsidian are masters of RPGs. You give them a story game, they'll make a fucking killing out of that story game. Imagine, because up until now, Obsidian has basically been stuck having to make games in sort of small niche markets of the world. Pillars of Eternity, I think, was an Obsidian game, if I'm not mistaken. You know, it's niche, and it's going to be niche. But now imagine that same quality, that same level of integration except in the Warcraft universe. How many Warcraft fans do you think pick up an RPG or a CRPG made in the Warcraft universe? Many. Many, 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 many of them. Most D&D players have played World of Warcraft at one point or another. Most fantasy players have heard of Warcraft, even if they've never played it. So you bring out an RPG game set in the Warcraft universe, they will instantly dive into it. They will instantly start playing it. The same with StarCraft, the same with Diablo. Good morning to you, sir. Slaughterdale, how you doing, brother? Bro, I've been dreaming of Elden Ring like game and Warcraft settings for years. The Elden Ring one is the one that I'm not going to go out on a limb and say it will happen, because I think Elden Ring or Souls-like games are some of the hardest games to make. And from what I see, most companies that try to make games set in the Souls-like genre fail miserably. They just don't get it right, because people think it's all about just making the fights difficult when there's so much more at play. But can you imagine a Souls-like game in the Diablo universe? Because I fucking can. I can imagine one in the Warcraft universe as well. Absolutely. It can work. There's so much effectively that you can do inside the Blizzard IPs that up until now have not really been done. That I think we're in for... I think we're in for a pleasant surprise at what's coming. I want an RPG roguelike tower crawler with Warhammer Warcraft skins. I'll play that. It's so fucking crazy that they didn't make any Warcraft games since 2003 other than Hearthstone. It's a huge fumble. New Gash, but this is the problem. This is why I'm saying AAA studios have completely lost the plot. Because all of these studios are focusing all of their eggs basically in a singular basket. So the idea is, we just have to go all in on this one basket and try to get as many people to play this one game as possible. So we're going to spend $250 million making this game. And then if it fails, it fucking fails big, right? Because, well, all of your eggs were in this one basket. When, in reality, if you took a team of 700 people, cut it down to like 20 teams of, say, 35 to 40 people per team, you could do 10 games a year, which suddenly means that out of those 10 games, if only 5 of them are successful, you've made your money, right? Even more than you would have made in the AAA game. So fundamentally, I think this is a good thing. Nameless, how you doing? I think this is a very, very good thing. And I think I want to see more of this. The only thing, and I've left this to the end because, what kind of clickbaiter would I be if I gave you the bad news at the start? The team currently mostly is comprised of King developers, which can suggest one or two things. Either they're just going to be making a bunch of fucking mobile games, which will trigger me, or most of the games that they make will also be mobile. So it'll be mobile PC, because Microsoft tends to want sort of all platforms. They're very platform agnostic in their games. So I can see them going, make this game, make it for mobile, make it for PC, make it for console, and let's go. Imagine a Larian Warcraft 4 game. Oh, New Gash. Oh, wow. Yes, please. That would be so good. That would be so, so good. And before Genshin Impact version of WoW? No, Larian can fuck off. I don't need every NPC trying to suck my dick. Apocalypse, you do, though, if it's Sylvanas. Don't fucking come at me with that bullshit. Would you think about getting back to defending Azeroth series? Nameless, I am going to pick up that series very soon. Just got busy with a whole bunch of other things. Editing for the Clips channel and then also the podcasts, and it's just been a nightmare. But that series isn't over. I want to do that series, but I'm probably going to do it this time. Record a bunch of them and then bring them out sort of one a week or so. Just so that I have them already waiting. Because the problem is, right after I made that first episode, I got busy with a whole bunch of shit. And I never had time to get back into it. Because the research that goes into one of those episodes is a lot. Right? It's a lot of research that goes into that. So I will get back to the Defending Azeroth series. I'm not giving up on that series yet. Nameless, I promise I will. She's a literal corpse. You guys can go fuck yourselves. I don't want to hear your negativity. Everyone knows Sylvanas will suck great dick, and you would not say no. She's hot, bro. Don't even come at me with your higher than, holier than thou bullshit. I don't want to hear it. Really? Was Zalatath? Sorry? Zalatath can go as well. She's hot too. But remember, if you're gonna fucking tell me Zalatath is hot, but you don't like Sylvanas because she's a corpse, Zalatath is literally a corpse too. So I would like you to shut the fuck up. Zalatath got them spooky eyes though. Hey, she's crazy, bro. She's crazy. Never knew this necrophile side of me. It's not quite necrophilia, because she is a living corpse, effectively. Reindeer, Echo is necrophiliac. Bro, hips are hips, man. What are you going to do? Oh, man. All right. I have a bunch of holy fucking people watching my stream, pretending like Sylvanas isn't hot, pretending like Zalatath isn't hot. It's fine. You guys can keep pretending. We all know you're just capping at this point. Lyria's cool too. Instead of Blizzard at the moment, they'll go for the monetization out of the Wazoo approach over quality gaming. Wait, what's that? What are we talking about here, Abaddon? Thought of them all, we know who it is. The Scarlet Leader, High Inquisitor Whitemane. Whitemane is pretty hot, but if we're going to talk about the hottest character in the game, I would actually say that it's, is it Liadrin? Oh man, what's her name now? The Blood Elf that was good friends with Varian. Come on, chat. What's her surname again? Valyria. Valyria something. Indril, how you doing, bro? Valyria Sanguinar. That's the one. Yes. She's the hottest one in the game. Like, by far. Hands fucking down, hottest character in the game. Same, but realistically, they went with it because it's easy to monetize the shit. Running mob remix. I've re-killed Whitemane at least 2 dozen times now. I've been trying to get into the new pre-patch. I am struggling, bro. She will tie you up and do all the wrong things with you. True. Fucking true, bro. I absolutely agree with you on that. I'd agree, but I also want to raise Whitemane. Whitemane is hot. Whitemane is hot. I'm not going to take anything away from that. Ajara pre-Naga. Ajara Naga. It's all good. Ajara is also hot. True. The problem is, Holy, I was doing I was doing what's it fucking called? Ice Ground. Yeah, I was in Ice Ground, and it was not great. Not Ice Ground, Dragonblight. It was not great. It was a fucked up experience. This was last night. We went from Marshlands to the Martian ones ended, and then we went to Dragonblight. And as soon as we got into Dragonblight, it was a fuck show. It was lagging like crazy, like absolute nuts. You couldn't play. Literally stood at Wormrace Temple for probably 5 minutes. I can't load up. I literally can't mount up because it's just lagging, and everyone is typing lag, bro. And people were like, rightfully saying, I thought this fucking fixed it. What's going on? Mike, literally last night. So the lag has been fixed mostly, that is true. For the most part, you go in, not much lag. It's not as it was at the launch. But last night, again, we had fucking phenomenal lag in Dragonblight. So I will continue to say this, and I will continue to fucking scream this. Blizzard needs to stop doing open world bosses. Their servers cannot fucking handle it. The thing is, why can you not just have an open world boss in an instanced area of the game? Why does it need to be a boss that you fight in the open world? Why not just fucking make it in an instanced area where you know you can do 20 or 30 people at a time, and you can phase that shit? You know, because nothing is worse than trying to fight the Lich King and you can't cast anything because you're just lagging out. Fun once in a while. Only 3 weeks, to be honest. Well, it's not. It's not just the pre-patch events. This happened in Shadowlands with the world bosses they put in the Shadowlands, where every fucking time the world boss would be engaged in Bastion, I'll never forget this, then suddenly you can't do anything in Bastion. Everything is just lagging. I mean, the Maw had a boss as well that would just lag the whole place out that you can't play. And it's just like, bro, instance the shit. It's the easiest way to handle it. Instance it and it's gone. You never have to worry about this shit again. Z-Vengeance, but you'll still see people outside the world boss instance wanting to fight. I don't know. It's just like, it really takes away from the experience. It really takes away from the experience. Ramnax, I've never even played the Fallout games to completion, so I've not played the London one. I do want to. Maybe after our Elden Ring playthrough, we'll give Fallout, the game, a proper go, and we'll see if that works. Because, yeah, I don't know. I love the lore of Fallout. I hate Bethesda game design. I absolutely cannot fucking stand Bethesda game design. It's just not my type of game. And the lore is phenomenal. Not going to take anything away from that. I've watched videos on the Fallout lore. I'm like, bro, this is so fucking good. But then I play the games and I'm like, I hate everything about this. Everything about this. That's where you mod it. Yeah, but you have to get the original play experience before you can mod it. I've never played it. Well, I've played Doom 25 plus years ago. Even longer, maybe. But I've never played the new ones. None of the new ones I've ever played. Holy, I will say though, even from even if the event had no even if the event had no lag issues or play issues or anything like that, it still feels like pre-patches have gotten significantly worse as time has gone on. This is now how many pre-patches where we've basically gotten the exact same game loop. Go do a bunch of quests, kill a boss. Go do a bunch of quests, kill a boss. Go do a bunch of quests, kill a boss. It's just like, oh man. We need... At some point, I would like to see Blizzard try something new with their events, right? I want them to try new things and see if it works. Maybe it fails, right? Maybe it fails. And if it fails, great. At least you tried something new. It's just like, it feels like the pre-patches have gotten super stale. It's fun to gear. Don't get me wrong, it's very nice to gear alts and maybe gear your main characters or whatnot. But for someone like myself who don't really give a shit about the gear, there's not much in there. It's basically just the same shit over and over again, and you don't even have to do much. You attack one mob and then you just stand around waiting for the event to finish. But in the old scenario instance, give us lots of fast, important stories, prepping for War Within. Cillian, I would actually say that would have been a better event. Like, unironically, that would have been a better event. Imagine if the Memories of Azeroth took you to all of these raids in the raid. So you basically get sent to moments before you fight the Lich King. And then you fight the Lich King at the top of Icecrown Citadel. And that's Azeroth's vision. And then the next one is you get sent into Molten Core to fight Ragnaros. And then you get sent into Nexia's lair to fight Nexia. And maybe even get sent into the Firelands to fight Ragnaros' upgraded version. But you fight them in the raid with the raid mechanics all being there, and you have to follow the raid mechanics. It's not as hard as, say, Mythic, but then you could even introduce difficulty, right? You could even introduce difficulty. Yeah, basically, Lace, literally that. You take the anniversary time-walking bosses, and that's Azeroth's memories. And it's just every half an hour or every hour, there's a new boss that you need to go kill because there's a new memory for Azeroth, and you're just going around doing all of this. And then you can have world events that happen as well. So maybe you have some of the generals of old bosses, right, that show up, like Manaroth, for example. Shows up randomly on Azeroth as a memory that Azeroth has of Manaroth. And, you know, in he comes. And you could use this quite well as a speculation tool. So, for example, if I were writing the story and the Titans were the evil guys, maybe I have a random memory of Amanthul showing up out of nowhere, and he's a bad guy, and he's on his way to do a bad thing, and you have to stop him before he gets to do the bad thing. And everyone is suddenly speculating, going, why would Azeroth have a memory of Amanthul doing bad things that we have to stop? That is awkward. Right? Imagine the fucking possibilities of that. Like, the possibilities would be endless, bro. If you had some memories in there that made a lot of people go, wait a second, what is happening here? What is happening here? Not really, The Vengeance, because you don't know why Azeroth wanted us to stop Amanthul, right? And you still have the freedom to say that these memories weren't even from Azeroth. If you really wanted to go a different direction, you could say that all of these memories are from Baladar, the crystal. in real, we spoke about this during the last podcast, Baron's chat. But I will say on that front, I don't think it's so much just creative bankruptcy. I think a lot of it has to do with fear. The games industry, especially with all of the layoffs that's happening, you have to remember, making a good game is risky. You take a lot of risk, and you don't know if it's going to pay off until you do it. Right? You could have the greatest idea for a video game ever, and no one plays it, or people play it and they hate it. You don't know until you get the game into the hands of the players whether or not they're going to enjoy what you've done. And if you have layoffs that's currently or constantly hovering over your head, it's much easier for a developer to say, let's do what we know works, rather than try something big, and then that ends up failing, and maybe we're the next ones that get cut. My father told me this story. This was years ago. So he was... My dad's a medical doctor, so he's not really a businessman. He owns his own practice, and in that case, he is a businessman because he owns his own practice. But medical doctors in South Africa, basically, you make money if you're a doctor. End of discussion. You don't have to do much. Just open your practice, and bam, you'll make money. And then my uncle came to my dad with an idea. He wanted to open a fast food chicken restaurant, right? Where they sell basically fried chicken, same as KFC, but it was from a different franchise, a local South African franchise that they wanted to open up. And my dad was like, all right, let's fucking go. Let's see how this works. And my dad sort of rightly thought up a bunch of ideas about how to run this in the safest way possible. Because my dad, he's the kind of guy that will read... He will study before he takes on anything. So he read books from every single restaurateur he could find, every single bit of information he could find to learn why do restaurants fail, how do you make a restaurant successful. And one of the things he read was food wastage is one of the quickest ways to fail a restaurant. Because, you have to be very careful with what you order, how you use it, and all the rest of it. And so my dad implements this policy to his workers that any food that they waste, any food that they throw away, any food that they, don't sell, they will pay for. His idea was that they're going to make only the amount of chicken that is needed and not just make like bulk, thousands of pieces of chicken and then, sell it that way. What ended up happening is because the workers knew that they would pay for it, they would make chicken and then just leave it in the oven, sometimes until 5, 6 o'clock at night, and sell the dried out pieces of meat just because they don't want to pay for it, right? That's the problem. If you make it too... If you add fear too much to a system, it will very quickly lead to the opposite of what you actually wanted to see. And that's the thing that we should be, I think, most aware of. I think there's a lot of people that is very fearful right now in the gaming industry, enough so that they won't try anything unless they absolutely have to. By the way, thank you, Apocalypse, for banning the bots. In real, obviously, I'm not suggesting that it's all fear. There's almost definitely some lazy fucks as well. But you can imagine for yourself. The gaming industry right now is laying off people left, right, and center. If you're a developer working in the gaming industry, you have a reasonable fear that you might be the one getting laid off next. And if that fear exists, even if it is just in 20% of the developers, they will have an impact, right? they will have an impact on the rest of the developers, because those developers that might be not afraid and want to take risks will run into the people that go, no, 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 no. That's too risky. We don't know if that will work. Let's just, instead, let's just, do this. This always works, We know this works. And then you go to the pre-patch and you go, yep, this is what they've always done. It makes sense that they will continue to do this. Because it works, at least for the moment. Then we start making smaller films instead of blockbusters like video game indies. Too bored. I definitely think movies should stop trying to get A-list celebrities. I think with movies, one of the ways in which you can save money is quite legitimately just, trying to get new talent in rather than trying to get the A-listers in there. But even then, when it comes to movies, pretty much every way you cut it, it's going to be very expensive, But one of the things I would love to see disappear from movies is the over-reliance on green screens. Man, I don't know what that is, but green screen just doesn't feel the same. What does he say, The Vengeance? Come by, so they want the reward. It's fake engagement though, as it's FOMO from FOMO of reward, not enjoyment of the content. Yeah, but I think they don't really care in a pre-patch event. Watch it, bro. You won't forget it. Are we allowed to watch Hot One episodes on YouTube, or is that shit copyrighted? That's the big question. You ever gonna do something with that wall behind you? Not really. It's outside beyond that wall. What do you want me to do? Knock a fucking hole in it? It's a wall. It does its job. What do you need? What do you need from it? No, that's not what you meant, Grofile. Paint it green. Why would I paint the wall green? That makes no fucking sense. I like this. I like the fact that it's gray. It removes color from the room, which I like. But I will probably at some point do something. A communist flag. Yeah, why not? That will not at all be horrible to look at. Yeah, it belongs to Complex Media. They will absolutely no. Yeah, no. The Vengeance, I literally just Googled Hot Ones copyright, and it said Hot Ones trademark for Complex Media Inc. Guaranteed they will claim this shit out of and streams is difficult. Because if you get caught in copyright on a stream, they will oftentimes remove your ability to stream for months. It can go up to 6-7 months sometimes that you're not allowed to stream for. So I won't risk it. I'll watch it afterwards because I do want to hear what he has to say. Then I might make a video on what he said. Man, this is now a new fucking conversation that's happening. How do you guys feel about starting soon screens? At the right time, not gonna lie. Look at the stock market now. The stock market is fucking dying, innit? A starting soon screen. I'm gonna starting soon is fine. 2 hours starting soon, and we fight. Yeah, like what most streamers do. I start to sunscreen. Okay, sure. I don't think they have to use sunscreen, but sure. Things are fine. Let chat get filtered in so they don't miss the start. But my start is literally just me sitting here drinking coffee, talking to the rest of people. So, you know, I don't know. I haven't used the starting soon screen in fucking years. The only place I use a starting soon screen is on the Baron's chat episodes on YouTube. But that's because it's a podcast and people want to be there from the first minute. But on Twitch, I don't think I'll use a starting soon screen ever. The only reason I'm talking about this is there's a massive conversation happening on Twitter right now between streamers some streamers saying, fuck starting soon screens, you shouldn't be using them. And other streamers going, no. Starting soon screens is everything. What is Wild Assault, Pringles? How you doing, bro? By the way, bro. You see, the way I look at it is I have shared a schedule with you guys. So all of you know exactly when the streams start and what days the streams are. The way I look at it is if I go live every single day of the stream at the same time, people will just be here eventually. So you don't need a starting soon screen for people to show up at the moment that they know they should be. Too bored. I've made this schedule specifically so that I can be consistent at it. It took a lot of thinking. A fucking lot of thinking. Because I had to look at everything that I do in a day and in a week and what days I need for what things so that I know, okay, this is the days that I can stream versus these are the days that I can't. Where when people send messages in chat, it drops their name with emoji on the screen with some weapons and they fight. So my promise is you're not going to keep Paco. A lot of thinking for a schedule. I have to think about it, Mike. I have to think about what am I doing, what days. Because remember, I still have to keep days open for videos as well. Because I don't have a lot of time when I stream. Camilla, how you doing?
Damn. Thank you.
15 months part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you. Thank you. You're far too kind, Camilla. How's your day going? And from the new takeaway shop? No. If I get the coffee shop, the stream schedule will change entirely. We'll start streaming a lot later. Like a lot later. Because I'll be fucking at the shop working during the day. Just starting in the East Coast US. So far, so good. What time is it, Camilla? So then we'll probably start the streams at, say, 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon and go to like 9 or something. Ramnax, why the hell are you awake at 5:51 in the AM? Actually, you've been here since 5 almost. Why are you awake at 5 a.m.? Abaddon, how is it changing the schedule or already thinking about or planning to change the schedule? If things change, I have to change with it. If I get the coffee shop, how would I stream at 10 o'clock in the morning? That's when the coffee shop is open. I can't stream when the coffee shop is open. So what?
Oh, damn.
Either don't stream at all or, you know, Bugger Games. Something just happened here. Was that on YouTube or? Yes, on YouTube. Vladimir Putin. Thanks for the gifted sub, man. Really appreciate you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Can I get some hearts in chat, ladies and gentlemen? Can I get some hearts in chat? IRL coffee shop stream. Holy, if only I didn't live in South Africa. If I didn't live in South Africa, I would absolutely be streaming my entire coffee shop experience, you know, working at the coffee shop and all the rest of it. But in South Africa, the rules are pretty simple. You are not allowed to record or stream anyone without their permission, which means I would have to ask every single customer whether or not I have their permission to show their faces in the shop. It would be a nightmare. So yeah, I'm not allowed to do that. Otherwise, I would have. Just have the camera pointed at you and not the customers. Again, I'll be running around serving the customers. So what? I'll never be on camera? Better on YouTube? Tubeboard, I don't care really. No, it's... I think it's like 10% more on YouTube is... YouTube is 70-30. And I think Twitch is 60-40. But it's like, I don't give a fuck, right? Sub where you get the most. I don't care. As long as you enjoy the content, I'll take your money. That actually seems fair. Most people don't want to be filmed. Documentary, yeah. I don't mind the law. I don't mind the law at all. I'm perfectly happy with the law. Because I do think one of the things that I think is annoying for people is the influx of TikTokers and streamers in the world. So I can understand why a lot of TikTokers or why a lot of people are just sick and tired of it. And in South Africa, you're not allowed to do that. So I think it's good. TikTok is definitely the worst. I hate TikTok, man. I hate everything about TikTok. And I do think you want to talk about absolute cancer, TikTok. Fucking hate that. Fucking hate that platform. So not really, because again, I think it is 60%, sure, but it is also 60% off $5. I think the YouTube one, I don't know. Oh shit, Vodkamir with another gifted sub. Really appreciate that. Hearts in chat.
Oh, damn.
Thank you, sir. You're far too kind. I'm not sure. I think on YouTube, I've set subs to $1. So it would be 70% of $1. So if you want to talk just how much money do I get on Twitch, I get more money on Twitch than I get on YouTube. You tell me Gluck 3000 and Tidepot Challenge is in the bottom of the barrel. It's not even that I'm talking about. It's not even that I'm talking about. The PC brand like Starforge. If I had the money, Gregory, I would probably do that. But that you need so much money to get into that business. So much money. Hey, don't spend it all in one place, though. Tubod, what I'm talking about with TikTok, I saw this article that said that the majority of Gen Z will base their vote in the coming elections on TikTok trends. And I was like, well, we may as well just fucking burn shit down now. We may as well just burn shit down. Like, you have an entire new generation of people that will vote for whoever makes the best TikToks. And I say, well, fuck that thing. You know, who cares at that point? Like, all this talk of politics and policy, and you don't need that. Just make a good TikTok and you'll be golden. And you should not vote. You shouldn't vote for someone who's popular. You should vote for someone who is making the right decisions and is going to do the right things. So I'm not suggesting anyone will do that. I'm just saying. Cillian, thank you so much for subscribing and becoming part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you. Thank you. You're far too kind. Need to remove universal suffrage again? You should have to pass a test on the policies or something before you being... So basically, Avedon, what you're saying is we should go to a two-tier system like in Starship Troopers. If you do not serve, you do not vote. And you cannot hold political office, basically. You can do that either through a test or, but basically what you're suggesting is not everyone should have the right to vote. Personally, I wouldn't be against that. I've thought about that for a while now. Vodka, I appreciate it, bro. My personal opinion, I don't care about military service. I couldn't give two fucks. But I would say, Vodkamir, with another gifted sub, really appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Hearts in chat, ladies and gentlemen. Hearts in chat. Here's what I will say. If you're not paying taxes, you don't get to vote. See, yeah, I would actually be okay with that too. In order to vote, you must be a taxpayer, and you must be willing to sign up for the draft. Now, here's why I would be okay with that. To vote is a privilege, one that you should be allowed to you should be able to defend. So if someone wants to take away your right to vote, you should be able to defend that right. If you cannot defend that right, then you don't get to vote. So I would say, yeah, if the second you want to go vote, you sign up for the draft, which means if war breaks out, you're on the fucking front lines. Congratulations, buddy. And also, if you don't pay taxes, you don't vote. Simple as that. Because I don't see nothing good can come out of people who don't pay taxes voting. Because people who don't pay taxes will almost always be incentivized to vote for the worst possible people. Because the second you have a politician that says that they're going to increase, social security checks, all of the people that aren't paying taxes and getting social security checks will automatically vote for that person, even if the country is in debt, right? Even if your country can't afford to actually pay that money, they'll do it because what else are they supposed to do? And even if it is a little tax, even if the taxes you're paying is like a fucking breadcrumb of taxes, that's still tax. You're still paying tax. You get to, cast your vote. Super PACs need to be deleted and candidates should only be able to campaign for a short period of time and with a campaign funding limit. I heard this idea, Joshua, how you doing, bro? The other day that said what should be deleted is political parties. Political parties should be deleted. You shouldn't vote for a party. And politicians shouldn't work for a party. Every single politician should run on their own merit with their own platform so that if they get into power, the only people they're serving are the people that voted for them, not the political party as a whole. And I think that's actually a good idea, because so often you see politicians running on one thing, but then doing the complete opposite because the thing that they ran on was antithetical to the thing that their party stands for. To bring back real ancient Greek diplomacy? I don't know if the ancient Greek system will work, because most people today won't show up to any of those meetings. Although you might say, well, then they don't get a vote, and that's just how it is. Joshua, I would say you make it so that you can only vote, you can only run as an individual, no political parties, and you're not allowed to take money from any corporation. Corporations are not allowed to invest at all in the political system. At all. I would also ban instantly lobbying groups. No fucking lobbying. None, zero, zilch. Just gone. No lobbies, no lobbyists, no lobby groups. Let the politicians run the country the way that they promised to run it. If the corporations don't like it, they should put their own members forward to go run for office and see if they can get elected. There's problems, but at least we ain't Venezuela. Dude, I think almost every country can. Like, I'm South African and I can say South Africa has its problems, but at least we're not fucking Venezuela. Like, that's a low bar to entry. The Athenians voted for 2 guys who wanted to invade Syracuse, although they were in a war at the time. Just because they were popular? Yeah. The thing is, the one thing that is becoming clear to me, and I have thought about this long and hard, I don't know if democracy, even constitutional republics, is the way. Because if I look at the world around me, the overwhelming majority of people are stupid as fuck. The overwhelming majority of people do not think through their choices, do not think about the extent of their choices. They don't think how their choices can be used against them. Which means that no matter what political system you come up with, it will always be fucked. It will always get fucked. No matter what you do. No matter how many checks and balances you put into the system. No matter how much you try to guard the system against corruption. The problem is the people. We are stupid. And I include myself in that, by the way. I will also, there's things that I will vote for that is probably fucking stupid, right? So can I be trusted with a vote? Probably not, right? So the answer is there is no system that can ever work. To be fair, I think monarchies have built-in benefits that you don't really have in democracies. For one, a monarchy doesn't have a voting system. The king doesn't have to worry about them losing their throne in the next election. And monarchies, it's also not quite true. A lot of people think it used to be the king is just in control of everyone, but that's just not true. Monarchies, the king is basically, yes, he's the king of the country, but the king is only the king because the noble lords allow him to be the king. The soldiers come from the nobles, right? Every noble has its own army. And if the king wants to go to war, it needs the soldiers of the nobles. The nobles have to keep the peasants happy because if the peasants revolt, the nobles won't be able to pay taxes to the king, and then the king will invade the nobles' lands and give the serfdom to someone else, right? So effectively, you had this layer tier system that still meant that everyone had to keep everyone else happy, and it's actually, based on history at least, it's far less common, or it was far less common for nobles to actually shit on the peasants. In the vast majority of cases, most nobles were actually pretty good to peasants because happy peasants work harder and, pay more taxes. So it was very rare, actually, that you would get kings and nobles, that would just be terrible across the board. Lands and decisions and how to be a custodian of the land. Abaddon, yeah, you do get what we would call institutional knowledge, right? Because if you're the firstborn son of the noble, you are trained literally from birth to become the noble lord of the region that you're going to be governing. So you're taught about everything. You're taught about the tax system. You're taught about how to work with the peasants, how to solve issues. As the king and the king's firstborn, you're also going to be trained from the start to learn how to rule and govern well. And even if you have a bad king, the nobles are oftentimes the ones that keep the bad king from doing bad shit the whole time. So as a system, it worked, you know? So you do sort of wonder if maybe that wasn't a better system than the one we have today. Against the aristocracy. Now, I've not read the Dune series, but I've watched a lot of videos on Dune. Now, I will be the first to admit that the aristocracy and the monarch system has pros and cons pretty much like every system. Because at the foundation of it, you have humans, and we humans are very flawed. So no matter what system you come up with, it is going to have pros and cons. But surely there must be a system that is, for the most part, decent. You know? It's got its flaws and it's fucked, and every once in a while it needs a good civil war to sort it out. But it's decent enough, you know, to where it can actually be sorted out. How good something is, humans will find a way to fuck it up. It's our God-given talent. I don't think it's our talent. I think the problem is this entire universe has... So here's the thing, and it's quite a profound thought. The natural state of reality is nothing. It's its natural state. It's nothing. It wants to constantly return to nothing. Its basic function is the destruction of everything. Entropy is at the foundation of the universe. And that means that every system that we invent, everything that we try to do, will consistently harken back to nothingness. Right? It will try to undo itself. No matter what we do, no matter how hard we try. And I think the founding fathers of America understood this. You look, for example, at George Washington. He wrote famously that America will need a civil war about every 200 years in order to basically uphold the Constitution. George Washington made the case that while the Constitution is strong and the Republic is strong, the Republic will eventually succumb to corruption. And the only thing that will then set things right is a civil war. Because that civil war will bring about the rationality that would be required in order to establish a new constitution for the day and age. And that will then lead to another X 100 years, 200 years of America. So, yeah, I think the problem is that so many people think that they can come up with a perfect system. And that's where the real problem comes in, because a perfect system wants to guard against all of the possible things that can go wrong. And very quickly, when you start to run the thought experiment of how do I guard against everything that can go wrong, it doesn't take long before you realize I need to remove in every single aspect the rights of people, because people is where things go wrong. And once you get there, it doesn't take long before you start putting people in gulags. Because, I mean, it wasn't as if Stalin and the Kremlin didn't have good reasons for the people that they put inside the gulags. They had great reasons. Most of the people that were put inside the gulags were people that threatened the stability of the state. From their perspective, the state was perfect if it wasn't for the evil people that wanted to overthrow it. And so what do you do with those evil people that want to overthrow the state? You put them in gulags, right? You remove them from society so that they can't overthrow the state. And it's a perfectly rational thing to believe if you believe the state is perfect. And that's going to be true for every system, including constitutional republics like America, including democracies, including monarchies or democratic monarchies like the UK. It's all going to boil down to the same thing. if I believe the monarchy is perfect, then I need to kill all the dissenters of the throne, right? Because obviously the monarchy is perfect. This is an idea that's becoming popular again in recent times. There was a book written about it in the 90s called The Fourth Turning by Neil Howe. Oh shit, what does that book say? But come here, I mean... Yeah, but the problem that you have in today's politics is that you have a political class that is very interested in protecting themselves. And they managed to get there over decades and decades and decades. So obviously they don't want to give up power, you know? They don't want to lose their power. I don't think America is ever getting term limits. Heck, South Africa doesn't even have fucking term limits. We'll play for an hour or two. See you guys soon. Z Vengeance, take care of yourself, man. Good luck with work. Don't be so quick to want revolution, bro. Revolutions are really fucking scary. Oh, I heard about that. I watched the video of someone explaining that, Niall. How it seems to be a cycle that repeats itself throughout history. Just continuously going. I can see that, actually. I think it's literally the cycle of entropy, right? As time goes by, things get worse and worse and worse. And eventually you need some kind of threat to put things back again. Or at least try to put things back again in the way that it used to be. I think the thing that I would add to that is nothing ever comes back as strong as it was before the fourth cycle. So when the next cycle comes around, that same thing is now a little bit weaker. Even on to the teeth, I'd rather not have war break out. Still making Elden proud because I am prepared. Acedia, I think the only people that are actively hoping for war to break out are stupid people. It's people that don't understand that war doesn't look... war is nothing like television. No, fuck me. Well, it looks like the Third World War is coming, though. Oh, fuck me. A big part of why the fourth turning seems to result in conflict is because no one alive really remembers the last big war. Now, that is actually profound and also super true. I will hear people my age. Now, I have never been in a war. Ever. I don't know anything about war. But I have spoken to people like my dad, for example, that was in the border wars. And my dad told me the fourth day of his first tour on the border, he started to get a headache that would just not go away. It took almost 3 weeks for the headache to disappear. And he finally realized what was causing the headache. It was stress. Because every single time you get on one of those transports, every single time you get on one of those vehicles, you know that this could be the last time ever that you get on one of these vehicles. You could be blown out of the fucking, out of that vehicle and dead. And you're constantly with that fear until you get back on base. And even in base, there's a chance that you're going to get attacked, right? So yeah, it's sort of Murakas, how you doing, bro? Fight and flight response is constantly active, and that will fuck you up good. That's why in war we don't leave soldiers on the front lines for endless amounts of time. Actually, bad for you. Well, too. Yep, Mike, very bad for you. It's already here, but it's not your standard war. It's a tech war, and it's already happening. Mike, I think it may have started as a tech war. It may have started as an information war. It may have started as an online war. But you see articles like this or news like this coming out, and you realize that the enemies of the West are not just okay with fighting a bit of a TikTok war or a YouTube war or a war of words. They're actively gearing up to do a proper war, a nice kinetic war to get everyone nice and involved. And I will say this, Putin, I don't believe Putin is a good guy. Not at all. And I think Putin has it in him to do some very evil, fucked up shit. But if you ask me, who are you more afraid of? I would say Iran 100% of the time. Because unlike Putin, who I believe does want to live, and I believe in some way doesn't want to see Russia destroyed, I don't think Iran has that same level of thinking. As far as they're concerned, if Iran goes up in a blaze of fucking glory, fighting the infidels, they're all getting 70 virgins in heaven. So from their perspective, if they can nuke the whole world, then they'll do it. They don't give a fuck. So I don't know if I want Russia or Iran to have weapons that could cause a lot of fucking damage. Fanatics are legitimately insane. B-Design has something to say about this. Yeah. For Putin, you can make the argument he wants Russia to, as you just said there, Acedia, he wants Russia to prosper. Iran doesn't have the same thing. They just want to see the destruction of everything, right? All right, let's watch this. Peter Zion.
Zion here, coming to you from the south of France in Calonque National Park. One of the questions I've been getting repeatedly in Europe is, isn't Russia due for a coup or a revolution or something? People are looking for a way to end the Ukraine war quickly. Well, three problems with that. Number one, I don't think we're going to see a palace coup anytime soon. Most of the people who are at the top of the Russian political heap are folks that Putin has known or has trained for the last 30 years. One of the many characteristics of the Soviet system is that the intelligence folks tended to be in charge, especially after they threw an internal coup back in the early 80s. That's when the Andropov, Chernomyr, and Gorbachev clique came to power, all former intelligence officers. Putin is an heir to that legacy. Remember, he used to be stationed in East Germany to steal industrial secrets from the West. Anyway, after that coup, everyone else in the communist hierarchy was basically purged, and so those were the people who took over the post-Soviet Russian system. Mm-hmm. There's only about 120 of them left at this point, but all of them are personally loyal to Putin from their days in the KGB, or they're the former interns of people like Putin, so say Alexei Miller at Gazprom, literally a former intern. Anyway, so they all see the world from the same lens, and they all owe their position personally to Putin, and Putin has spent the last 30 years purging this group of anyone who might be disloyal. So number one, they see the world the same way, and if something were to happen to Putin, they would probably have a really interesting conversation about who's in charge next, and then just prosecute the war more or less as it's been gone. And number two, they're personally loyal. About the only one of this 120 that might have the guts to try something a little scrappy would be Igor Sechin, former gun runner, now runs Rosneft, which is the state oil monopoly. He probably has the guts to kill Putin. But the other 119, if there's anything that they agree on, aside from, seeing how the world through the same lens, it's that they all hate Igor Sechin. So if Sechin did try something, he would probably be dead the next day. So internal palace coup, probably not going to happen. That leaves the option of revolutions. Standard of living in Russia is dropping. They can't access the Western goods. They can't access Western travel destinations. The economic elite, such as it is having a rough time of it. And inflation is an ongoing issue in many parts of the world, Russia included, because now the Russian industrial complex is being retooled to make tanks and refurbish military equipment, so it's not available for what paltry commercial.
Thing is, about that access to Western goods, I've seen some videos from people who go to Russia, and then they show the shops there. And for example, you have Nike shop that's changed its name to some Russian word now, but it still sells all the exact same shoes, exact same shit, everything, right? Like literally sells Nike shit, just no longer under the Nike name. And you go into the supermarkets, and where Coke once stood, there's something that looks exactly like Coke. The label looks exactly like the Coke label. It just has a Russian name now, and it's not Coke. So I don't even know if most of these big companies pulled out of Russia. It feels more like they said we're not going to be in Russia anymore, and then just labeled themselves as something else to continue to do business there. So I don't even know about this, but he knows way more than I do. So assets from when Western countries were pulling out, but they can't replace stock and try and mock it up. The quality is completely different. Maybe. As I said, I don't know. All I've seen is people talking about it, right? Tends to have a very Atlantic view on geopolitics. It's like getting your analysis from the Rand Institute. Now, I will say this. I'm not the biggest fan of Peter Zeihan, but then I must say, I'm not a big fan of any geopolitical analyst. So what I tend to do is I will watch a lot of them. So I will watch Mersheimer, I will watch Zeihan, I will watch Jim Rickards. I try to watch like 5 or 6 different geopolitical analysts, and then where all of those analysts, where their lines cross, that's usually where the truth is. Because the problem is, I have heard Zeihan say just objectively bullshit things. Like where I'm listening to and I'm going, bro, logic tells me you're talking out of your fucking ass right now. But from his perspective, what he is saying makes perfect sense. From his perspective, what he's saying makes perfect sense. He made the claim a while back, I can't remember how long it was, but this was one of the things that he said Putin is basically a death cult, and Putin will absolutely drop nukes on the rest of the world if things get to if this war doesn't go his way. And as we just discussed, just objectively, you can go and say, I don't think that's what he wants to do. He seems to want to grow the Russian Empire. Death is not a good way of growing an empire. In fact, it's probably the worst way you can grow an empire is killing yourself. So clearly, that's just from your perspective, the way you're looking at it. Companies doing under the table deals. Oh yeah, you guys have heard, right? So for example, Europe, if you guys haven't noticed, have not run out of gas yet. Even though Europe doesn't have gas, it got all of its gas from Russia, right? And Europe hasn't run out of gas yet. Why not? Because Europe is buying most of its gas now from India. Where is India getting their gas? From Russia. So basically, it's just sort of like Russia sells to India, India sells to Europe, and Europe still has gas. So Russia is still making money. The problem, of course, is war is very expensive. So all of that gas money is just going into war at the moment. Yeah, it's just adding a middleman, basically. As someone who is living next to Ukraine, all Putin wants is to get rid of US influence next to his border. Duxie, I can't say what Putin wants or doesn't want. I don't know the man well enough, and I don't know geopolitics enough, right? I don't know. I am always slow to believe politicians. And my general point of view is whatever a politician tells me is guaranteed a lie. The only thing I need to figure out is what are they trying to hide. So I would almost guarantee bet whatever Putin's actual goals are, no one knows what it is. Is it to conquer Ukraine and make the Soviet Empire or remake the Soviet Empire? Maybe. Is it to destroy all of Europe? Maybe. Is it genuinely just because he wants no US interference next to the Russian border? Maybe. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I know there's a war, and I know war is fucking stupid. That's literally the extent of what I know. I don't pretend to know much more than that.
Goods that it was capable of producing in the first place. So what about a revolution? Well, the problem is that this is not the West. These are not democratic societies. These are despotisms. And as a result, you usually don't get public uprisings in a place like Russia unless and until the standard of living tanks and the sense of nationhood itself is thrown into question. So Russia has had popular uprisings in the past, but like the end of the Cold War wasn't one. Basically, you have to see the Russian army just disintegrate in a military campaign to the point that people know that the strongmen are gone and are broken. We're not there yet, and there's nothing in the short-term horizon on the Ukraine war that suggests that we're anywhere close. But for those people who are thinking that this is still perhaps the path forward, I don't want to say you're wrong, because we do have a lot of similarities right now between what's going on in Russia and what went on in the 1980s. Similar economic dislocation, similar failure of state institutions, and I think the best parallel I can draw is the Prigozhin rebellion of last year. We had a rogue paramilitary commander who basically marched on Moscow for 1,000 miles. And much to Putin's delight, not a single military officer joined him. But much to Putin's despair, not a single military officer stood against Prigozhin either. No one loves Russia, just like no one loved the Soviet Union. So when this does go, and odds are it will in time, the whole thing goes, the whole regime, the whole governing structure, just like it did in 1992.
I would say, and Jurgen, you're very, very correct. I have been on record as saying I don't like this pretense that we've built in the modern era. You know, the whole gentleman's war, basically, where you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to... All the rules that we've enacted with war, I think are all bullshit. I think if you want to fight a war, fight the war. Just fucking scorched earth that motherfucker. War is dirty, it shouldn't be done, and the price for war should be such that very few people ever want to engage in it. The whole thing with gentleman's war, where we don't bomb civilians, have made it so much easier for people to engage in those wars because the evil that will be enacted isn't as bad, right? Whereas I think, just fucking do whatever. Who cares? It's war. It's not supposed to be pretty. We're not even supposed to be doing it, but here we are, doing it for the fun of it. So yeah, I do agree. If the West wants to stop Putin, it's going to have to become a lot more aggressive. It has to show Putin that it is not afraid of absolutely going fucking scorched earth. But then you have Putin with nukes, and that could also be a dangerous little player. But if I were to make a guess right now, I think Russia and China is basically in an arms race against the West. Either Russia and China descend into civil war and anarchy first, and the West wins a Pyrrhic victory because the West then goes into its own civil war and revolutions, or the West goes into civil war and revolution first, and then Russia and China win for a small while until revolution and war breaks out in Russia and China as well. I don't see how anything that is currently going on ends without almost every country in the world just divulging into either all-out world war or civil war. And in many ways, I look at the West and I go, the only way you can really stave off civil war in America at this point, because in America you have two sides that no longer view the other side as American, but view the other side as evil. In Britain, you now have the rioters that's rising up. That's also becoming clear that one side thinks the other side is evil, the other side thinks the other side is evil. Pretty much all throughout the literal world, you have countries dividing itself along these lines of, we fucking hate you, and they're talking to their own people. So the only way to unify a country would be through war. If America announced tomorrow that it is invading Iran, and this kicked off World War III, all of the differences between Republicans and Democrats go away almost immediately. Almost immediately. All of that shit disappears, right? Because World War has started again. So I would not be surprised if that is the end game, if that is the goal. Basically, start the world wars, and that unifies your nation, and it gives you a few more years.
Because aside from the corrupt, there's no vested interest in maintaining this system. It just has to have some sort of short, sharp shock, like an extreme military defeat, for us to get from here to there. Oh yeah, I forgot the punchline. So are we going to see a revolution in Russia? Almost certainly. But there aren't going to be any warning signs until like the day that it happens. And as soon as it's over, that's it for the Russian state. They don't have enough time, demographically speaking, to try something new. So when this is over, it's over.
See, like that last claim that he makes there, it's backed up by nothing. Peter Zion loves to talk about birth rates, right? And that's basically hinges his entire geopolitical analysis on birth rates. Societal collapse, which is fine. But Russia, there's still millions of people living in Russia. So him saying after that, that's it for the Russian state, because they just don't have the demographics to rebuild. It's like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, they still have millions of people. Unless that civil war kills all of the Russians, they'll still have more than enough people to fucking rebuild Russia. That's like just such a weird statement to be making. Was understanding about analysis. Chewy Panda, how you doing, bro? It's Peter Zion. Popularity a lot if you win a world war. That is true. Sirs, I came here for news about Void Mummy, but I guess we can do war IRL. Baki, how you doing, brother? We cover all war, fictional or not. Maybe a bit too spicy for YouTube, but do you think if Trump got off, would... Yes. Okay, so with the Trump assassination, I have said the same thing, and I've maintained this pretty much since the beginning. If the Trump assassination was successful, America would have woken up a completely different country to what it has ever been. And the reason for that is you would have instantly had an entire country realize that violence is a legitimate way in order to silence your political opponents. The Republicans would have realized that the left absolutely has no line that it will not cross. And the Democrats would realize that, hey, if we don't like a Republican politician, we can just kill the politician, right? And that would have been it. And it wouldn't even matter whether or not the shooter was Republican or Democrat, or none of that would matter. All the evidence afterwards would mean fuck all. Because suddenly both sides have realized political violence is a legitimate answer to political disagreements. What would end up happening is you would almost immediately have militias forming and becoming a lot more vocal. And in my opinion, that would have triggered the beginning of a civil war. The MAGA people would absolutely buy immediately that this was a deep state operation. The left's acting afterwards did not help them at all. because they have exposed themselves. Because right after it, I was hoping that I would see prominent leftists saying, look, I don't agree with Trump, but fuck me, boys. Assassinations are not the way that we get rid of our political opponents. This is anti-democratic. Because I've heard from all the leftists that democracy is at stake. Democracy is at stake. Trump is a threat to our democracy. Now, I want to go out on the limb and say, if you really care about democracy, then assassinations is pretty... I don't know, like, maybe I have the wrong book on democracy, but I think assassination is not very democratic. I could be wrong, obviously. I'm always open to being proven wrong. But it just sort of makes sense to me that that's not the most democratic way of getting rid of would-be presidents. And instead, what I saw from the left was people lamenting the fact that the shooter missed. Now, that is problematic. Because effectively, you've done now two things. You've, again, told the right that you would have loved if the shooter hit. So, political violence, very much acceptable. But more importantly, where I really think this became dangerous is if you're now a sort of mentally unstable American boy, say 21, 22 years old, you might have looked at the reactions of the left and you might think to yourself, wait a second, so if I kill Trump, I will become a hero. That's a very dangerous concept to start sort of planting in the minds of people. You know, that's a very, very dangerous concept. Trump was killed, Mike, and yet they did. You had plenty of Democrats across the board saying they're sad that the bullet missed. Plenty. So, no. Your faith in your side is a little misplaced, sir. It is just what it is. If assassination is undemocratic, then why does it keep happening? Checkmate, rationalist. Power Kirby, how you doing, bro? Draw the line at IRL Assassin's Creed. You even had people in real life say it on camera. Yeah. No, you absolutely... And dude, it didn't take... It was barely 24 hours later when the Democratic people were once again calling Trump Hitler. This after someone tried to take his life. You once again say, oh, yeah, but he is still Hitler. It's like, okay, wait, so we're not even cooling this down. Of course, I'm not saying the Republicans acted any better because, again, on the Republican side of things, you immediately had people stoking the fires again. And it's just like, I don't recognize those people as actual left. Mike, this is... No, bro, come on. Don't do this. Do not do this. This is logically dishonest. And it is just dishonest. Don't do that. That is your side. We can't have this. This is the same fucking argument about communism. Oh, you want communism? Well, what about Stalin? What about Mao? But that wasn't real communism. All right, what about Venezuela? No, that wasn't real communism. What about Cuba? Wasn't real communism. All right, bro, then what the fuck? So every single time someone goes communist and they kill millions of people, that wasn't the communism we want. It's like, wait, at some point you have to admit that there are bad people on your side. Your side is not the only side that only has good people, and then anyone that acts badly is not on your side. That's not how that works. My side is for peace. No, your side isn't for peace and human beings. Your side hasn't been for peace and human beings. Dude, the Democrats are the biggest fucking warmongers in America. Like, there's not a Democratic senator or a congressman out there that is anti-war. They have voted for every single policy that pushes more guns and pushes America closer to war. What do you mean? Your side is for peace. There's not a side that's for peace. Not on the right or on the left. They're all for war. You might be for peace and for human beings, but that's not your side. Your side is absolutely not for that. Your side is for war. Implementing violent urges to political views is a wrong way of looking at it. It's more human nature where bad actors let it out. Yeah, but remember, your political view is going to influence who you aim that violence at. Or Republicans, I'm on my own side. But Mike, then that's all you can say, right? Is I am not part of that side. But that side is absolutely, for political violence. A better way of saying it is our side is for our peace. I mean, every election we vote for which war we prefer since I have been alive. It's sad, right? It is fucking sad. The question, of course, is what do you do? What do you do? Like, how do you not do that? The way politics is set up pretty much worldwide is America has two options. Both options lead to war. Just the enemy sort of differs. Britain, same thing. Well, how do you fix this? Because voting for it doesn't matter. If you're an American, you're voting for anyone that isn't a Democrat or a Republican, it is quite literally a wasted vote. The American system is built in such a way that it is literally just wasted votes. I don't know. I'm not one to say that there is no Illuminati. I'm not one to say that there is an Illuminati. I do subscribe to the idea, the principle of an Illuminati. So, not that there is some big organization that is sort of, moving the chess pieces around and we're going to do this and then this and then we're going to fuck everyone. But more the idea of it. Right? That you might get very powerful people who are friends with other very powerful people, and they are thinking of ways to increase their own wealth, thinking of ways to fuck over the general people in order to make themselves richer. That I can agree with. That I can see as a genuine thing. Obviously, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. Get about the world burning. Growfall, take care, man. Have fun. But yeah, I don't know. That thrives Illuminati, but not that influential. Again, I don't even think there needs to be a single group that controls the world, or so to speak. Because most of these people just think the same way. Most of these people, they think the same way because they went to the same schools, because they went to the same universities. So they don't need to get together in a room and come up with ways to be fucking weird. They think the same way, so it looks like there's a group controlling everything, but really they all came from the same milieu, the same genre of people, so they want the same stuff, even if they're not really communicating with each other. Joshua, I'm not suggesting that you should suddenly start voting for a Republican or a Democrat. I'm just saying, in America, you are actively wasting your vote the way the system is set up, which is sad. It obviously shouldn't be that way, but it is that way, and there's not much that anyone can do about that. I do have some very bad news, though, for everyone. I'm gonna have to end the stream early. My editor for the podcast hasn't had internet for the whole weekend, really. We record on a Friday and it's supposed to come out tonight, the podcast. They haven't been able to download the podcast yet. And now they're at work, so they won't be able to edit the podcast, which means I have to edit the podcast, which is a fuck up. I've never edited a podcast, so I'm not entirely even sure how to do that. So the Russians got to echo? No, I wish. That would have been an easier thing, like fucking, you're in for pain. Acedia, I'm aware. I'm not breaking the schedule. I streamed. I was here when the stream was supposed to start, but I literally just got a message from them on Discord saying that they had no internet. They let me know on Saturday that they had no internet, right? But they thought that they would get internet. And then they let me know, yeah, no internet. Sorry, couldn't do it. So I have to fucking do it now. And it's important to get that up because, yeah, it's already 3 days. Sad, but good luck. Thank you. Grace Mako, always love your takes. Good luck with the editing. Stakadaka, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I promise tomorrow we'll do Elden Ring. We'll do all of that shit. Let me go edit and let me see if I can fix it. If I'm done quick enough with the edit, I'll come back, right? And we'll do more live streaming. Maybe we'll play some Elden Ring. But it's all going to depend on how long this takes to edit. I'm going to try and do as little fusses and bullshit as possible and just get it up so that it's there. Have it on. You can go fuck yourself, bro. I have been streaming consistently. And when I took a break, I told people I'm going to take a break, and I told them exactly how long I'm going to take a break. So fuck you, bro. Take your time, man. Thanks. But I want to stream. Trust me, I don't want to fucking edit a podcast. I hate editing. Editing sucks. Oh, man. Can't explain to you how much I hate editing. And the problem is there's 2 people, so it's me and Rurikon. So I have to figure out how do I sync his voice with my voice. Editing streams are boring as fuck. I'm not a master editor, so yeah, you won't enjoy an editing stream of me because it's going to be literally me just silently trying to figure out what the fuck am I doing. But I've done editing in the past. If it's like a short video, I'll edit it live. You know, that I can do short videos. I can do my own videos. The problem is the podcast. I've never done podcasts. I don't even know how long the fucking rendering on that shit is going to take. If it's anything, so my normal videos will take maybe 10 minutes to render. This is fucking, this is a long one as well. Me and Rurikon almost went 3 hours on this bitch. Oh my fuck, man. Oh, this is, the rendering is going to take so long. Oh, I hate this. I don't want to do this. It's gonna be a 2-hour fucking render, bro. This is gonna be silly. The name is Baron's Chat. Baron's Chat. It's tonight, 6 o'clock, South African time, that it comes out. If I can finish it by then. Okay, let me go do that, and then I'll be back if I can finish it in time for some Elden Ring. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time as today, but just much longer. And we'll play Elden Ring. To experience the hell we put Alex through with the shill show. Yeah. True. I don't want to do this. Alright guys, I really want to stream again, but rolls wheels of excuses. Russia has invaded Ukraine. Dude, what the fuck? I never said the reason I'm not streaming now is because Russia invaded Ukraine. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Wyvern, yes, because my editor doesn't have internet, so the editor couldn't edit the podcast. So now I have to rush podcast edit so that the podcast can come out tonight at 6 o'clock. So that's where we are right now. I probably won't be here. I have to work, but have fun. Ramnak, still, thank you so much for coming out, for hanging out, for spending some time. I really appreciate you, bro. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me go do some random fucking edit shit. And I hope to see all of you over on Baron's Chat 6 o'clock so that you can enjoy the podcast with us. This week was a bit of a spicy one. A lot of drama to cover, a lot of bullshit to get through. I really appreciate all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I'll see all of you tomorrow, 10 o'clock South African time. If you want to know when that is in your time, on Discord, I've given you a link that tells you exactly what time it is for you. So please, take care of each other. Peace.